Okay, cool. So it will be again about marketing today. But before we dive a bit deeper in digital marketing and growth hacking, just a small repetition. And in case you have some questions from last time, from Tuesday, please just let me know. So we were discussing on Tuesday, we watched some videos about growth hacking, and we were discussing what growth hacking is actually, what growth hacking actually means, what it is, and what kind of different way it explains to do digital marketing. And this graphic, I think, is one of the best graphics how to explain the different evolution steps in a startup. And stages. So I think, the problem solution fit, we had many classes about it to find out, to do the validation for a clean startup and so on and so on. And then I think the interesting part is here that growth hacking is not only there if you already have launched your product, but it's also already pre-product market fit. So basically you try to gain already traction and awareness on the market, even though you might not have the real product yet. So it also helps you in the validation. So that's why I chose to talk about it. It's not only about, let's say, marketing, but it has a lot to do with understanding the customer, using maybe your MVP, your minimal viable product, to grow and to learn, basically. And we had a look at also many examples of very innovative companies, new companies of the digital era who execute growth hacking very successfully. And here you see two examples, Amazon and Netflix, how they beat their competitors and how that also is reflected on the market cap in the stock exchange. And this was the graphic showing with amount of experiments. Bing was also more worth, basically. So with every experiment, they learned something and they could grow. And then we did a workshop about the North Star metric, and I hope that you still remember your North Star metric, which you chose. This was the example of Airbnb. You see here many different KPIs, measurements, and at the end, it was the nights booked. And today, I would like to talk more about the marketing funnel. Have you heard about the funnel before? I think you saw that also quite often in those videos last time. But have you already seen those funnels before?
Yes, in other class.
Also in marketing, or?
Yeah, it's quite close.
Okay, cool. Hi, Chen. Okay, so I would just briefly explain the funnels. I mean, if you already heard about them, I would just quickly explain them. Maybe some of you have not heard about that. So imagine it like the flow of your customers. So on the top, like here, many people see your startup. So many people see your advertising. You talk to a lot of people. Hey, I have a great idea, and here is my website, and so on. So basically, you have a lot of people here which get to know your product, but only a few of them will actually visit your website, or only a few of them will download your app, or only a few of them will jump on a sales call with you. So that is about the acquisition, right? The acquisition can have different meaning for different products or different business models. Mostly in nowadays, it's a website. So it means getting as many website visitors as possible. And then it's about the activation. So that was the explanation from last time, the aha moment. You also did the exercise on. So after you, let's say they signed up for a free trial, or they downloaded your app, or they visited your website, they need to get to as fast as possible to the aha moment and say, oh wow, this is the service which I really need. I need to use that, for example. So this is like the activation. So then only if a part of the website visitors will be activated, not all of the website visitors will be activated. And then in the next step, the retention, here it's about people, or the user already is already a customer most often. And then it's about retain him. So try everything that he stays with your company, that he does not switch to the competitor, and that he like stays as a paying customer. And then the next step under it, and this is different in growth hacking than in the other marketing funnel. Traditional marketing funnels, they are mostly focusing on the top part. So how to acquire visitors, how to activate them, get conversion, and how to retain them. But here, it's also about how to basically make it possible that they refer you to other friends or to colleagues. So like they write it here, how can you turn your customers into advocates, right? So you want to leverage your customers, that they are mouth to mouth propaganda, basically. And then the last channel is revenue. So how can you make more money out of one customer? So either increase the shopping basket, or increase the amount of purchases, and so on. And this is here now a very interesting model, which you will also do your practice on later. I will guide you through some of the examples and explain you what this actually means here. Okay, so acquisition channels. And this is what we had last time here. Acquisition is mostly about like the awareness. So where do I get awareness from my target group? This can be social media, that can be PR, that can be sales, that can be events, whatsoever. So there are a lot of different channels which you can use for the acquisition. Here you see paid marketing. This would be like social ads, that would be Google ads, that would be banner ads. SEO, search engine optimization, would be how is your website basically findable on Google? How good do people find you through the search? PR is press work. So you approach media and newspapers, and you hope that they will write about you. And the referral loop, basically, right? We talked about here referrals. So your existing customers will hopefully also bring you new customers. So this is all the acquisition. So basically the question, how do you acquire your first customers? And then you see here the funnel, because in the funnel, you want to lead them as soon as possible, in the fastest way possible, to the aha moment. So you basically want to activate them, right? Can we do one example? What was the Chia-Wee, what was your aha moment in the last lecture? Like, what was the aha moment you described? Do you remember? Yeah, so basically it would be like the first transaction, more or less, right? Like the first time the pet owner gives away his pets to a pet adopter. That would be the aha moment. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I think that was what we were discussing last time, right? That you could leverage this aha moment to say that the first adoption is for free, right? So this is exactly what we do in the workshop later, to find some smart and creative ideas how to leverage this aha moment. So basically, how in case of GRE, the acquisition would be he downloads or she downloads the app, right? But it doesn't mean that he or she is activated, because he or she needs to book basically one transaction to give away his or her pet. So, and then after this transaction, it's the question, how do you get this pet owner coming back to your app? So how do you leverage that the pet owner thinks about you in the next week when he or she does a new business trip? It would be great if he or she comes back to your app and books the first paid transaction, basically. So this is then the retention loop. So here are some questions or ideas like, can you trigger, for example, in an app, you can trigger them with a push notification, right? So to say, after 1 week, he or she will get a push notification. Or you can say when this pet owner is traveling or is checking in the airport, you could send him maybe a push notification and say, hey, have you thought about us? Now you would have much less worries if you would have give the pet to our pet adopters. Like some smart ways how to trigger the retention. Reward could be also the same. It's like McDonald's does it with the coupons, right? As they give out a lot of coupons because that you are coming back all the time to McDonald's. And investment, what could that be? I think in terms of, for example, the VR learning experience idea. If students are giving a lot of investment into spending time in those courses, for example, they invested a lot of time on their own, right? So they will be more likely to come back again than people who did not have to invest a lot of their time. The other example for reward would be, okay, this person, he needs to get like a lot of rewards to keep on studying the same course and so on, right? And here on the bottom, you see the North Star metric, value metric. So throughout the whole process, you're always optimizing and focusing on your North Star metric. And then the second loop is the referral loop. So when you made sure that that the visitors turned into customers, the customers are coming back on a regular basis, then you have the referral loop. Then you want to have your customers as influencers and as advocates, and they should go out and say, hey, look, I just gave away my pet. You also have a pet, right? And you're traveling next week. You should go to the same app and download it. This could be, for example, also invite and accept, like Uber does. Invite one of your friends and you will get a €5 discount and your friend will get a €5 discount. With those kind of metrics and tricks, those products and those applications, they leverage your referral, that you refer your friends. And then the last loop is the revenue loop. So here you're trying to either come up with new products, cross-sell, like for example, in case of the pet adopter app, you can add, for example, a service that the pet adopter comes to your house to pick up the dog, and that the pet owner does not need to bring the dog to this owner, and that costs €3 more. So you make more money in the transaction fee. So like additional services, for example, or something like that. So basically how to make more money per transaction. Did you understand the different loops?
Yeah.
All right. How about the others? Clear. All right, good. Cool. So let's have a look at some examples of those big companies. So here you see LinkedIn. Maybe I will give you 1 or 2 minutes to go through the every block. So LinkedIn's North Star metric is engaged quality members. So probably they have this some like more broken down. So what does an engaged member means? Maybe somebody who logs in more than 20 times per month, or who shares more than 5 posts per month. Probably they have some more specific metric there. And how was their growth strategy? So in acquisition, they worked a lot with search engine optimization. So they focused a lot on getting found in Google. Then they focused really early on international expansion. So comparison to Xing, which is like the German competitor, Xing is only in the German-speaking countries, but LinkedIn is already like around the world. And they had a really good referral loop. So these were the main drivers behind their acquisition of members. And then how did they define the activation, the activated user? They defined it that if user added their education or their position in the company they work in, and if they make connections. So that's very similar to Facebook. Remember, Facebook had the activation, the aha moment was that you add 7 friends within 10 days, I think. So here it's very similar. And then the referral loop, the retention loop, notifications. So they have a lot of email notifications. They have a lot of push notifications of their app. So here it's the same at Facebook. They get the people on the platform through notifications. Referral loop is invites. I think that's clear. When you start having LinkedIn, you can invite all your address book colleagues, friends. You can, you can send an email to somebody who's not in LinkedIn and ask him to invite. So it's very easy to get your friends also on LinkedIn. And obviously, you're motivated that to refer them and to invite them because you want to see their content and you want to connect with them. And then the revenue loop. Ray is coming now. And the revenue loop is about the premium plan. So if you want to have special features in your plan, you need to pay the premium fee. And they do the advertising. So you can book the ads on Facebook, so they make money with that. Hi, Ray. Do you have some questions regarding? Hi. Do you have some questions regarding LinkedIn's example here?
No.
Yeah, Ray, I will explain you a bit what we're talking about. So here we were talking a lot about how your marketing and your growth engine looks like. So okay, so you always start with the acquisition. So how do you acquire your customers, your first visitors, and then how do you activate them? Wait, sorry, I will jump here. We talked a lot about the aha moment in the last time. Here in the acquisition, you can do the paid advertising, search, TV, PR, whatsoever. So how do they get the awareness of your company? And then how do you activate them? And then in the next step, you have those so-called loops. So you want to retain them, that they're always coming back. So how do you do that? You have to find certain creative ways. Then referral loop, how can they refer you to their friends? So how can they become basically ambassadors of your product? And then at the end, how do you make money? And how do you increase your revenue in a loop? And based on all those loops is always your North Star metric, like we had the last time. So always have this one metric in mind which you want to improve. You will see it now in the next example. Do you all know Slack?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So in case of Slack, what kind of channels did they use in the acquisition part? They used a lot the press. So they went through a big media, they went through TechCrunch and all those really big startup and technology media. They had a public Slack, so probably they had some public channels with which basically the people could try out the product without registering or without paying anything. And they also use the referral loop. So here you always see those tech companies, they grow a lot through referrals. And what was their aha moment? They said, you are activated as a user and you got your aha moment after you sent 2,000 messages. That was their aha moment. Then you understood how the product works. Then you're really active and you're activated. Their retention loop is similar to LinkedIn. They used a lot of notifications. So, it's a messenger, some kind of, so as soon as you get a message, you get a notification. The referral loop is very easy, I guess, for companies. So if you sign up with your company, you could invite all your team members. But there are also like public groups. So I think this is with public Slack. And you can register, for example, for startup community in Frankfurt, and then you have to get a Slack account for that. And then the revenue loop is the pay per user. So all the companies who want to have a business account, they have to pay per user per month. So that's their revenue model. And here the revenue loop, I misunderstood a bit, or I explained it wrongly. It's not only about like what you can do, it's like especially on top of your idea. It's also about like how do you make in general money. So in case of the pet adoption app, for example, it would be about the transaction commission, the fee you get for the provision, for example, and then you can think about to sell some accessories for pets or additional services and so on. Yeah, so this was the examples. Ray and the others, did you understand what the different loops are about, and would you be able to come up with your own example now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Before, like I would like to do this as a workshop, but before we do that, I would like to show you some other, just from my experience, some ugly images.
What's that?
That is my own handwriting. I'm sorry for that. But I will explain you. You don't have to understand every word. Here on the left side, you see the intent. What does that mean? That means the purchase intent. So the higher the purchase intent, the more likely this visitor or this user will buy your product. And then here on the bottom, you have the costs, the cost of acquiring this user. So the cost of getting this user to your website. So here I made basically a graph. So here on the left side, for example, you see the on-page marketing. On-page marketing is, I mean with that, is for example, when you're on websites and you have this pop-up coming up, right? Hey, register for our newsletter, for example. Or here you can't really read it, I'm sorry for that. Here is, for example, the cart abandoned emails. So if people put their product into the shopping cart, but they don't buy, it's very easy for you to send them an email and say, hey, you forgot something. Here, you just need to pay. And if you pay today, you will get a 10% discount, for example. You know, so those people, they are very, very likely to buy because they already put the products into the basket, but they didn't proceed with the payment. So I created this graphic here to showcase you where to start as well, right? So especially as a startup, you always have budget problems, or you don't have any budget. So it's also about prioritization and finding out which channel you should work with at first. So the red marked channels are the channels which do not cost so much, but where the purchase intent is higher, is like more effective, let's say. So we have the remarketing here, meaning people who already were on your websites, you can just remarket them. So you can showcase them in a Facebook ad. You can do search engine optimization. So if your product is pet adoption app, you really want to rank for the keyword pet adoption app on #1 in Google. So this you have to write texts and you have to write blog articles and so on, but it does not necessarily cost you a lot of money. You just need to do the work. Marketplaces. So this was something with the awareness channels, the other platforms. So where is your customer at the moment, and do you get access like very easily to this platform without to pay a lot? And then the last example here is the paid search. So for example, this pet adoption app, if people are Googling for it or searching for that, and you have advertising for this, you still have to pay per click. So you still have to have some budget. But the people who search for this term, they already know that they have the problem, and they are looking actively for a solution, right? So they will be more likely to also convert. So they will more likely to download your app and then actually do a transaction, in comparison to somebody who Googles how to train my dog, for example. Like he's not looking for a solution for adopting or for taking care of his or her dog, you know. So always keep this in mind, that you need to be you need to do marketing with the highest, at first at least, with the highest purchase intent. Genau, yeah, we will, and here, and this one is dependent on the time. So here you have the intent, right? And here it's the days after the first visit. So it's very important that you also, for example, if people put the product in your cart or they register for your app, that you always contact them in the first 1 or 2 days, because in those days, the likelihood that they will purchase, or the likelihood that they will actively use you is much higher, because with every day left, they forgot about you, or they found your competitor or whatsoever. So the time also plays a role here. Yeah, and then here, I think that's the last slide, and then we will do the workshop. Here you see again, I think in the videos we saw that last time, Growth Tribe was talking a lot about the skills and what kind of skill set do you actually need for the future in marketing. And here you actually see what growth hacking is all about. It's not only about social media. It's also about technology, and basically it's combining creative marketing with technology and user data. And I think last time some of you had the question that, or the doubt that it's only about marketing, but you need to have a good product. So here you also see the product development, right? And psychology, for example. So it's very diverse, and it's basically the key is that you don't know all of them, but you at least have, that is like this T-shaped market here, right? That you at least have an overview of the different things, and you have some basic skills, only basics. And then you have in those 2 sections here, you're like the absolute mastermind, like you're the expert. So this will be, I also believe that this will be how digital marketing and growth in general of digital companies will look like in the future. Okay, enough talking. I prepared the workshop slides. I will send you the link. In the chat. Can you all open that?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so in this slide, please just choose slide for you and write down your name, and then fill out the boxes in the respective line. You can also make them bigger or small. Do not feel constrained about the space. Cool, and fill it out in terms of like your own startup idea, right? So with the aha moment we discussed the last time, and let's say we have 35 minutes. So let's meet again at 4. And I will be all time here. So just let me know if you have some questions.